We want to recognize Deputy Stewart for being in place. Thank you, Deputy Stewart, for your presence. And we thank all of you for your presence here with us this evening. If we would just have everyone rise to their feet for the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Grant, please lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Graham, thank you. We have all members present, and we have a quorum. A quorum has been established. We want to move to 1.03 to approve the agenda. Do we have a motion? So moved. Moved by Ms. Blaylock. Do we have a second? Second. Second by Ms. Shelley. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposes? Hearing none, motion carries 7-0. We're not having a public hearing this evening, but we're going to move on to 3.01, instructional highlights, French Convention. Ms. Flanard.
Good evening, Master Chair, members of the board, Dr. Baker and Dr. Martin. The 2013, the Spotsylvania County French teachers began the Le Congrès des Français Fredericksburg Area French Convention as a way to bring teachers and French students from the area in the region of Spotsylvania, Stafford, King George, and Prince William counties, Fredericksburg and Frederick area private schools together. This past fall, we celebrated the 4th annual convention at Riverbend High School with over 200 students, teachers, and guests from the community to learn about and experience the French language and the culture in our world today. This evening, we have Beth Marshall, and she is here to present our instructional highlight.
Hi, bonsoir. On behalf of myself, as well as my colleague here, Kathy Schneck, we'd like to talk to you about our Congrès de Français. This was a brainchild in 2013 among many of us in Spotsylvania County to bring all the students in our county and other counties together. So what it kind of became for us was a day where we're not sitting and taking a quiz. We are not sitting and listening to a video. So we're getting hands-on involvement in the French language. So students are creating their own artistic impressionist movements of art. They are trying French food, and they're posing like this crazy pictures that are in front of us, and hopefully understanding that French is not spoken just in France, but in over 33 countries in the world today. So as was said earlier, this is not just Spotsylvania County. It is led primarily by Spotsylvania County, but for 2 years we actually met in Fredericksburg City. Next year we'll be with Kathy at Cortland High School. We're hoping for November the 12th. We'd love for you to join us. But like I said, it takes many people to put all this together. It's thanks to my colleagues that we were able to start this and continue it going, and it's getting bigger every year, and we're really thrilled. So just a quick overview. What the students do is they register for the day. They come to the school, get a really handy-dandy cool bag, some buttons, a t-shirt, and then they sign up for different kind of sessions throughout the day. They have a fantastic breakfast à la française, and then they have a guest speaker to open the day. And then I'm going to leave this for Kathy to talk.
We've had a lot of great speakers as well as sessions. We've had people from the French Embassy in Washington, D.C. We've had people from the Virginia VCU Film Festival, all sorts of people willing to come and just expand the kids' knowledge of the French language and French culture, including the Peace Corps. After they listen to the speaker, then they go off into their different sessions. As you can tell from the photos, there are a lot of improv, art, we've had fencing, all sorts of hands-on as well as craft. We've had ballet, we've had pétanque, you name it, we try to keep them moving. We try to take them a step beyond what we can do in the classroom. Can't always get out and play on the grass. We make stained glass. We've celebrated the various holidays with Mardi Gras activities, with the king cakes, with bûche de Noëls at the holiday time. Of course, we have food with tasting cheese and crepes, and try to give them a traditional French lunch as well. And then they just keep repeating that throughout the afternoon. And then we have a marché where they have earned euros and they can go buy French stickers, French key chains, all sorts of, it's a day full of French.
And then at the end of the day, we, throughout the fall, we're going to be doing, we did an art competition, and the winner for the competition had their design on a T-shirt, and then we did some group pictures. And then we end the day with trivia competitions. And the great thing is, in the past, we have had a different high school win every year. So that's fantastic to be able to highlight these wonderful students. And it gets quite competitive up there, and this year was rather fun. We had 3 of the Spotsylvania County schools up there together, and yeah, Kathy hit me, but it was fine. It worked out okay. Just kidding. And that's it. Basically, we just want to thank you because I know quite a few have joined us for the day, and we really do appreciate your support. Dr. Baker came in this past year, and Don Shelley, I believe, I'm not missing anybody out. And we do appreciate your support. It's super important for us to not only engage these students in the classroom, but outside of the classroom, and we really appreciate that. Of course, this day does not happen with 2 people, so we'd like to take a moment, if we could, to call our colleagues up to be with us, because it does not take 2, it takes an entire team to pull this day together, and it's thanks to them as well as many volunteers, student volunteers, and experts in the community that we're able to pull this off. So, merci beaucoup.
Please, if you will, before they are seated, would you could please introduce them so we could all...
Absolutely. This is Becky Wario. She teaches at Chancellor High School. The next is Lisa Randall. She teaches at Chancellor Middle. The next is, if I'm missing out, well, she's also at Chancellor High. We are multi-talented. Lee Perrette is at Spotsylvania Middle as well as Post Oak. And Suzanne Gardner is, she is just a Zoom of different schools. So she's at Nye River. Unfortunately, she has my child. I'm so sorry. She's at Battlefield, and she is also at Thornburg. Did I do that right? A few of our colleagues were not here with us this evening, and they also helped out. But we thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you for your commitment to bringing learning to life for our children. We really appreciate that learning occurs just as much out of the classroom with other students, not only vertically but horizontally. We appreciate that. Mr. Blaine would like to make a comment, please.
You know, excitement and enthusiasm are infectious, and just the enthusiasm and excitement that you all demonstrate is, as I said a moment ago, is infectious. And I can see your students really enjoying what you've been doing with them. So our heartfelt thank you.
Again, thank you, Ms. Michelli, and then Dr. Baker.
I've been the last 2 years, and I have had so much fun myself with the speakers, and trying the food, and just listening and seeing the excitement that the kids are having, the fun, and the hands-on learning. So thank you all for putting it together and being so passionate about it. So thank you so much.
I'm just going to echo that. I know that this is not something that was encouraged or required, simply that you all have a passion for what you teach and who you teach, and you brought that to life with this great opportunity, and I've had the opportunity to take not only myself but my family to visit, and most of us don't even speak French. But it has been, it's been a tremendous joy to see how you've continued to grow it, and the enthusiasm of students who are also taking a Saturday to come and engage in that learning all day. So thank you so much for what you're doing.
And I just want to echo what all the other board members had mentioned previously, and what Dr. Baker had mentioned. What you do is just indicative of what this division does in terms of providing the best possible education for our children. Is just a slither of what we do, and we appreciate that you guys do it very well. So thank you very much. Moving on to 4.01, the 2016 Regional Science Fair winners. Ms. Flenard.
Thank you again. We are proud to recognize the following students who placed, received honorable mention, and received a special award from this year's Piedmont Regional Science Fair. As I call your name, if you would please come forward. We are going to do this by school, so once we have a school, then all of the students, if you could please stay, because I'm sure that Ms. Daniels would like to take a photo op. So we'll do this by school, and then if we could hold applause till we're done each school, that would be beneficial so that we can make sure we are saying all of our students' names. First, we're going to do Riverbend High School, and we have Yusef Hagi, who's first place, computer science. And Yusef is our only representative from Riverbend High School. And if you have any family in the audience, we could certainly ask you to stand for supporting Yusef. Thank you. From Chancellor Middle School, Taylor Collins, Special Award, Next Engineer Award, and Honorable Mention, Engineering, Electrical, and Mechanical. Jocelyn Price, Honorable Mention, Engineering, Materials, and Bioengineering. Olivia Byram, Honorable Mention, Plant Sciences. Aria Finley, Honorable Mention, Plant Sciences. Maya Selavine, Honorable Mention, Energy and Transportation. Alicia Gomez, Honorable Mention, Energy and Transportation. And if we have family that supports our Chancellor Middle School Science Fair, if you could stand to be recognized, please. From Freedom Middle School, we have Megan Robinson, first place, Earth and Planetary Science. Thomas Homan, second place, Physics and Astronomy. Natalie Arnold, second place, Earth and Planetary Science. Megan also won Special Award for Broadcam Masters Award, so congratulations. Alexis Pugh, Special Award, Hybrid Interdisciplinary Scientist Award. Amy Kendall, Honorable Mention, Behavioral and Social Sciences. Brandon Stokes, Honorable Mention, Energy and Transportation. Carly Slazak, Honorable Mention, Energy and Transportation. And if we have any family in the audience that supports our Freedom Middle School students, if you could please stand to be recognized. From Nye River Middle School, we have Benjamin Van Roy, first place, Environmental Sciences. Jaden Moon, second place, Environmental Management. Brian Bacher, third place, Computer Science. Abigail Leedy, third place, Physics and Astronomy. Rachel Ivy, Special Award, Why Didn't I Think of This Award? Micah Seek, Honorable Mention, Behavioral and Social Sciences. Abby Guerin, Honorable Mention, Behavioral and Social Sciences. Mary Grace Patillo, Honorable Mention, Chemistry. Austin McNichols, Honorable Mention, Environmental Sciences. Zane Darden, Honorable Mention, Mathematical Sciences. Catherine McLaughlin, Honorable Mention, Medicine and Health Sciences. And Caroline Fairbanks, Honorable Mention, Medicine and Health Sciences. If we have any teachers that are in the audience that are supporting our students in the science fair, if you could stand to be recognized. Thank you, Dr. Baker. From Thornburg Middle School, we have Nathan Richardson, third place, Biochemistry. Julianne White, Honorable Mention, Behavioral and Social Sciences. Zach Bro, Honorable Mention, Computer Science. Skylar Jackman, Honorable Mention, Environmental Sciences. And Michaela Heitschuh, Honorable Mention, Medicine and Health Sciences.
And Mrs. Bernard, will you continue at 4.02, our Rappahannock Rotary Education Foundation's 2016 Teacher Mini Grant recipients? That's long.
Yes, ma'am. This evening, we are pleased to present the recipients of the Rappahannock Rotary Education Foundation's 2016 Teacher Mini Grant Program. There were 22 applicants. Of those applicants, 3 were selected to receive funds. As I call your name, if you would please come forward to receive your award. Nicole Spagna, Riverbend High PE teacher. She is receiving a $450 grant for her Technology of Wheels for Adapted Physical Education program. The grant will be used to purchase a portable technology cart with a laptop, projector, speakers, and screen that can be used during adaptive PE activities. It will allow all students to learn through visual instruction, demonstration, and interactive games. Congratulations to you. From Thornburg Middle, we have Kathleen Moore. Ms. Moore is a business concept teacher and STEM club advisor, and she is receiving $365 to purchase supplies for the STEM club. Purchased items will be used to encourage critical thinking, collaboration, and creativity while reinforcing valuable 21st century skills. From Brock Road Elementary School, we have Sue Sargent, speech therapist, and Caitlin Ignashevsky. Yes. They are receiving a $435 grant for Let's Get Talking. They're going to be using visual and print to increase communication and literacy skills in preschool students with autism and other communication impairments. The grant will be used to purchase large storyboards that the therapists will use during circle time and therapy sessions to increase verbal responses and verbal turn-taking. Each board will have 50 core vocabulary words, in addition to a Lazy Susan turning cart that will have nouns, verbs, adjectives, prepositions, etc. The students will be taught how to use the words to build sentences through demonstration and teacher and peer modeling. Congratulations.
And if we move on to the Superintendent's Award, please.
Thank you. This month, the Superintendent's Award is Benet Cox. Ms. Cox is an 8th grade student at Freedom Middle School. Her art teacher, Mr. Andrew Beckers, is Mr. Andrew Beckers. Mrs. Cox's artwork hung in the superintendent's office during the month of March. And we would like Ms. Cox and Mr. Beckers, her art teacher, to come forward to be recognized for their outstanding accomplishments.
Thank you, Ms. Lenard, and mentioning all the many awardees that we had this evening. We're just so grateful that our young people are taking full advantage of the opportunities that are being provided for them here at Spotsylvania County Schools and making the most of them and are making us very proud. So as they make their way out the door, we just applaud you once again for your great efforts. Thank you. .01 public comments. Dr. Martin.
Good evening. The public comment segment of our board meetings is a time to receive recommendations, suggestions, concerns, and comments from the general public. Each speaker is allotted 5 minutes, and we ask that they clearly state the name, address, and/or voting district for the board. A speaker may request additional time from the board should one's 5-minute allotment expire. We ask that you keep your comments focused on the issues and that all speakers maintain a level of decorum and mutual respect for one another. Mr. Chairman, we do not have any speakers signed up on our list, so I turn it back over to you to open it up to anyone else in the audience.
Thank you, Dr. Martin. For those that are assembled here, is there anyone that would like to address the board? Anyone to my left? Anyone to my right? Seeing none, we're going to close public hearing, public comments, and move on to 5.02, board member comments. We'll start with Ms. Shelley.
Thank you, Mr. Braswell. Well, good evening, everyone. Just a couple of things I wanted to just kind of brag on Spotsylvania schools, as if I don't do that all the time. But not this past Saturday, but the week before, we held the State Skills USA competition at the Expo Center, and students from all over Virginia in all of their career and technical skills activities and competitions. And we have some students that will be going on further to the national competition from that competition, just to see the skills, the technology, all of the different activities that our students have learned and were putting forth to show what they can do was amazing. And I saw some of my former students from when I taught in Spotsylvania, so that's always fun. Also, this past Saturday, I attended the STEM Summit, and once again, just our students. We had students from elementary, middle, and high schools that were representing Spotsylvania County and their STEM activities at James Monroe High School this past weekend. They sponsored it, they're hosted it this year. And once again, our students were showing their stuff, just the activities, all these STEM activities and putting their knowledge to use was another way that our students just show how advanced they are. And also this past Saturday, I attended the job fair. And I want to just say thank you to all of the HR department, to Riverbend High School for hosting it, all of the administrators and teachers and staff that were there to help out in any ways, interviewing or just helping out running. And then, of course, maintenance, who I'm sure set up all of the tables and chairs, and it looked like it went off without a hitch. But something else I wanted to say is, after speaking to multiple people in our division and some of the other divisions, what people say about a teacher shortage, it seems to be real. We had fewer people attend the job fair, and after speaking to some people from HR from different divisions, as well as ours, they're going to job fairs, and there are fewer people there. There are fewer teachers. One job fair, they said there were just as many recruiters as there were teachers, or people getting ready to graduate with education. So we really, really need to continue to push education to our students, because it's a wonderful field, and there is a shortage. So we need to look at that. But also one more thing that I noticed, and this is a budget issue, is we were not able to offer contracts on Saturday. Stafford and King George were offering contracts on Saturday to their star interviewees, yet we were not able to do that. So that's something else that we need to continue to look at, and to, hopefully we'll be able to have our budget or know what's coming in the future so that we can offer contracts to people that day. I hope we didn't lose anyone that day to one of the other divisions, because we are the best. But I just want us to be taking a look at that for the future, so that when a teacher comes to us and interviews, and when that is going to be a star teacher, and we can tell there, and I know what some of the principals called them were rock stars. When we have a rock star that comes to us, we want to be able to jump and say, we want you, and here's your contract. So that's something we need to look at for the future. With that, we've got, I can't believe it's the end of April, a little over a month before until graduation, a month and a half, and school's out. So we are zooming along. So with that, I will say goodnight.
Thank you, Ms. Shelley. Ms. Graham.
Just to elaborate and build on what Ms. Shelley had said, we do have, there's a Board of Supervisors meeting tomorrow night to finalize our portion of the budget and whether or not they're going to be able to give us some one-time funds. Just to let everyone know, we need a minimum of $2.9 million additional funding to even entertain taking the state share, the 2% COLA. A few years ago, we were only one out of 14 other school systems who were unable to take the state funds and had to leave that money on the table. And I'm hoping that we do not have to be one of those small numbers again this time, which is why we were unable to offer contracts, because our funding is still undecided. And we, of course, will not be able to include that 2% COLA if we do not get 2.9 more in one-time funding at least. So if anybody has opinions on that, let your Board of Supervisors member know, and that you want to support some one-time funding to the schools. I also want to thank anybody who came to the town hall meeting that Mrs. Blaylock and I held last Thursday at Massaponax High School, and I will move on from there.
Thank you, Ms. Graham. Dr. Meyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Reiterating on the Skills USA, one other point that was mentioned, there were over 1,200 students participating. And the other big benefit to us is we will be hosting again next year. It's a 2-year event, so we will have the benefit of being able to participate and see the wonderful activities and skills that were exemplified. Also, as Ms. Gramp had said, we're still in need of the 2.9. We do thank the supervisors for the 4.9, which is ongoing, reoccurring revenue stream, but we are still short. And I know I've been in contact with my supervisor emphasizing the need for the additional funds. So with that, I pass. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Meyer. Mr. Blaine.
I first of all would like to say I'm speaking more to people at home right now and who will be watching this program in the future, and I'd like to second what Ms. Shelley just talked about in terms of the STEM program, job fair actually, and the Skills USA at the same time. But I want to speak with it a little bit differently, and what I'm disappointed in is that we didn't have just more parents bringing children to some of these things who are not involved, because this is a real opportunity for your children to get an idea of the types of careers that are available when they're young enough to begin to generate interest. And we talk about being career and college ready, and this is where it begins. And when we deal with our boys and girls, and they have an opportunity to see some of the things that are happening in this science, technology, engineering, and the math area, for example, and seeing some of the terrific exhibits, they get excited. And when they get excited, they go on. And if you had taken time and had been there, you could have had an opportunity, frankly, to talk to children that have accomplished outstanding types of things at both elementary and high school and middle school. Skills USA, especially, more jobs, they're about 20% of jobs, 22% of the jobs that require a college degree in our society. The other jobs do not. But they do require certification. They require training beyond what we're used to be able to do. And our whole Career and Tech Center is dealing with specifically that kind of information now. And by attending these exhibits, you have a chance to have your children exposed to those things. Both the STEM program and the Skills USA are repeating again next year, and this is, as has been pointed out, the second year here for the Skills USA, and it continues. This, I think, was the 52nd program, actually. So this is an ongoing thing, and it's held in different parts of the state. I want to echo especially what Ms. Shelley said about the drop in teacher applicants. Folks I spoke with there said they felt, who were keeping count, about 40% lower turnout of people coming in, teachers trained now, looking for work than they have had in the past. And they also told me that as they've been out talking to colleges, they're finding that the number of young people deciding to go into education is dropping as well. It's a reflection of that. And to some extent, we see it reflected in the kind of salaries that are available. And when salaries are not competitive, kids decide why bother to go into something like that. So money is a critical element, and you get the results 10, 15 years later, and that's the problem. If when we need money now and you don't get it, you pay the price for the next several years. And we're, I think, on the verge, and I think that's what Ms. Shelley was referring to really that we need to encourage some of our talented children to get into the educational area. And one other thing, I have a couple of negative things this evening, and we had over 30 boys and girls who just received awards for various types of things from several of our schools. And the disappointment to me was probably 20 of the children were not here to get their award. And I hope that next year at this time, we'll be able to have all the kids that are getting awards to be here and to receive them. It's wonderful to be a winner, and this is being a winner. So my encouragement is to parents at home, help your kids participate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Blaine. We'll go with Mr. Twigg and then Ms. Blaylock.
Thank you. I just would like to report again on that Trash for Cash program I introduced to y'all last month. Since its initiation a few days before our last meeting, we had a total of 4 participants from various clubs and sports organizations from our high schools. And I think there was a middle school as part of that. 3 more are planned. The contest for an additional $1, $5, $2, or $100 ends on May 30th. So I highly recommend that you principals push your students and your user groups and your athletes to chase this program. It's a very safe operation, and Spotsy High's environmental club's been out twice already, and they're leading the charge. And hats off to them at this stage. So please, it's an easy way to make cash. It's very safe, and you just have to encourage your youth and your organization leaders to take that initial step through Miss Claire Mills, who is our county environmental manager, or see me. But more on that next month. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Braswell. Just a couple of things. Like Aaron, I'd like to thank everyone who came to our town hall meeting and gave us a chance to interact with them. We always appreciate meeting with the public. I also wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on with the budget. As we stand right now, we're still looking to give a 2% COLA to the employees of Spotsylvania County. School division, we do have a meeting tomorrow night. We are not involved, but we will be listening to see what the Board of Supervisors do, and if we do indeed receive some more funding. We're looking for some one-time funding, as been stated earlier. We want to thank our Board of Supervisors for working with us previously. They did successfully come through with 4.9 reoccurring funds, which we were thankful for. I appreciate my counterpart, Mr. Skinner, who has been working closely with me throughout this process. Hopefully, if the school board stays on task, we are scheduled to adopt our budget May the 9th. So that's sort of your budget update from where we stand. The great debate is April 30 of this month. If you want to judge, please let, I believe it's Mr. Wolf know now, and I will be judging. I know Dr. Meyer will be judging. This is always a great event, so if you can come support the great debate, I would encourage you to, and thank you for that. And then I think that's all the notes I had written down, but on a personal note, if everybody will bear with me just a little bit and let me brag for just a second about a student in the Lee Hill District, a former student who was a very successful standout academically and on the football field, and went on to William & Mary as a very successful academic and on the football field there. DeAndre Houston Carson will be drafted to the NFL, so if everybody will watch and send good thoughts to DeAndre and his family, we're very proud of him. He is a local boy who has done really well and has really, if you know him, you know what I'm saying. His character is as solid as his play on the football field. He's just a good human being. So we're very proud that he is having the success he's having. He was a Thornburg kid. I remember watching him play. Mr. Dower. Yeah, I remember watching him play years ago. Went on through Ponix. And again, successful at William & Mary. So we're wishing DeAndre Houston Carson all the best from the Hill District.
Thank you, Ms. Blaylock, and also Mr. Twigg for your comments. I'll just follow up and caveat a few things as it pertains to the budget. We're at the precipice of receiving the information that we're going to need in terms of funding as of tomorrow night, when the Board of Supervisors offer any assistance that they can with one-time funding for the school division. And when we started off by briefing the Board of Supervisors, we said in our mission statement that we, together, it was one of the key mission essential tasks. And I've called and reached out to quite a few of our supervisors and thanked them for their participation and assistance in any way that they've given it to fund the schools and to fund our needs for our children. And so we want to continue to say thank you to them for the hard work that they've done, and we want to continue to encourage them to be supportive of Spotsylvania County Schools and all the great things that we do. We saw this board meeting and a previous board meeting, all the wonderful awards and recognitions that our students and teachers receive throughout the year. And it's because of the great investment of this community in Spotsylvania County Schools that we receive the results, the rate of return on our investment in terms of what Ms. Blaylock mentioned, young people going out and representing us well in the community through a variety of different endeavors that has been placed on their life, to folks that we just don't hear about that often, but they're going about doing what they were called to do. And we're giving them the basic tools that they need to be successful in this life. So we need to continue to encourage the Board of Supervisors to work with us and us with them to do the very best that we can for our children. So we thank them for their participation, and we do consider it all success for all of us when our students win. Also, I'd like to just finish up by saying on the 10th of May, I had announced in a previous board meeting that Cortland High School baseball team will be holding a school board appreciation night. And we're really excited to have an opportunity to participate in that. It'll be the day after we hopefully adopt our budget, and that'll be a good opportunity to go out and see a little baseball, and yours truly will be throwing out the first pitch. I still have a little bit of heat on this right arm. You guys can come out and evaluate for yourself. I'm not bragging, I'm just saying. But please come on out and celebrate with Cortland High School as they offer an opportunity to thank the school board members who honestly believe that they're servants of this great community. So that being said, I'm going to turn over to Dr. Baker for his comments.
Thank you, Mr. Braswell. Any comments that I might have shared, I think have really been shared by the board individually and as a whole, so I have nothing further to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Baker. Moving on to 6.01, board committee reports. Any board committee reports? Anyone? Oh, anyone? Ms. Blaylock.
Just to share that Ms. Gramp and I had a successful Audit and Finance Committee meeting with Ms. Gaines and the whole team. A lot of success out of there. Nothing really new to tell, but we did attend, and we went over all of the things that the board already knows, so we have nothing to share.
Thank you, Ms. Blaylock. Ms. Shelley.
Last week, we had our Northern Virginia Regional Special Education Program meeting, and we just updated the bylaws. They had done them last year, but Spotsylvania County, they was not in the bylaws, but they were going to have me sign them because we're a part of the region. So I had them add us to the bylaws, so we are now legitimately part of the program, since we were always also, anyway. So now we are in there in writing. So I just want to let you know that as well.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else in committee reports? You will be receiving a briefing today about Head Start and the grant proposal that's been successfully proposed, and so we'll be hearing that. You're also going to be hearing a little bit about some restructuring of Head Start. It's going to affect some school districts in the Lee Hill District, also in the Berkeley District, and Livingston District, where we're going to maximize the benefits of VPI along with the benefits of Head Start and make sure that we position them in such a way that we get the best result for our students. So you'll be hearing a little bit about that. Some of it has been placed in, I believe, in the current, for your edification, and we'll also hear a little bit more in detail as it pertains to Head Start. Hearing no other committee reports, we'll move on to 7.01 and 7.02. Dr. Martin, the consent agenda.
On the consent agenda, the approval of the March 27, 2016 joint work session with the Board of Supervisors, the April 11, 2016 regular meeting, and donations which are usual and customary. Staff asks that the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Thank you, Dr. Martin. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Moved by Mr. Blaine. A second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Meyer. Moved by Mr. Blaine, seconded by Dr. Meyer. All in favor? Any questions? Any questions? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposes? Hearing none. Motion carries 7-0. Moving on to 8.01, second reading approval of 5-year cyclical policy review. Oh, let me get to that point. Excuse me, everyone. It says on April 11th, 2016, staff presented 79 policies as part of its annual cyclical review. Staff reviewed the policies included in the 5-year cyclical policy review, and the school board granted first reading approval at that time. They are presented for second reading approval this evening. Please find the cyclical policy review checklists and the 5-year cyclical indexed policy manual, fiscal year 2016, which includes policy language being reviewed. Administration's recommendation is that the school board grant second reading approval to the policies on the 5-year cyclical indexed manual according to the recommended actions which is identified in the fiscal year 2016 5-year cyclical policy review checklist as presented. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion that these policies be approved for second reading in block.
Thank you, Dr. Meyer. It's been moved, seconded by Ms. Blaylock, that we approve by block, second reading by block. Any discussion? Any discussion?
I just would like to thank Dr. Martin for the hard work that he has done to get all of those things ready for our review. That's a lot of work, and your secretary, Ms. Bowler, as well.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Martin. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Martin and Ms. Bowler, for your hard work. Sometimes when you do a good job, folks just don't have anything to say about the good work, so thank you very much. Going on with the vote, all in favor, say aye. Any opposes? Hearing none. Motion carries 7-0. 8.02, approval of the local plan for career and technical education. Mr. Wolf.
Thank you and good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. Baker and Dr. Martin. At the last school board meeting held on April 11, 2016, a presentation of the career and technical education local plan was given. This plan is required by the Virginia Department of Education to be developed and updated annually. It is the administration's recommendation that the school board approves the career and technical education plan as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf. We have a motion.
Mr. Chair, I would like to move the recommended action. I work on that committee.
Okay. Mr. Blaine moves to approve the local plan for career and tech education. We have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Shelley, properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposes? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. 8.03, approval of the special education annual plan. Ms. Richardson.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. Baker and Dr. Martin. On April the 11th, the Special Education Annual Plan application was shared with you. Just to go over some highlights, we are requesting level funding, even though last week we did receive information, preliminary information, that we can anticipate an increase for school-age funding of about $119,000 and an increase in preschool funding of $6,000. Just to remind you, our plan currently covers 38 special education teachers, 16 special ed paraeducators, 7.45 special education support positions, contracted speech-language services, and our preschool grant covers a portion of a teacher and a SPED para. At this time, it is administration's recommendation that you approve the special ed annual plan.
Thank you, Ms. Richardson. Do we have a motion?
I would like to make the motion to approve the annual plan for special education.
Thank you, Ms. Shelley. We have Ms. Shelley making a motion. We have a second. Second by Mr. Twigg. Any discussion? Discussion or comments? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposes? Hearing none, motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Richardson. Approval of 8.04, approval of Head Start continuation grant application. Mr. Mudd.
Good evening, Chairman Braswell, members of the board, Dr. Baker, Dr. Martin. This evening, staff's requesting the school board's approval of the continuation application for the third budget period of the 5-year project period, which will be for August 1st, 2016 through July 31st, 2017. Application is due April 30th, 2016. The required documents for submission to the Administration for Children and Families are all located in your packet. Tonight, we're requesting that the school board approves the Head Start continuation grant application as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Mudd. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Ms. Blaylock moves. If we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Shelley. Properly moved and seconded. Any comments? Any comments? I'm going to make a comment since I'm on that advisory committee, and I will just tell you that the Policy Council has done an excellent job of reviewing the information for the grant. They've worked very hard. Ms. Miller has done an exceptional job of organizing and planning to make this grant come to fruition, and I'm very proud of her. So if there's no other comments, we'll move for the vote. Oh, Mr. Blaine.
I'd just like to make one comprehensive comment, that it looks so easy when a motion comes before us and we say yes, and we've done that for career and tech and special ed and this program as well, but we owe so much to the people that went to work building those programs and those preparations and those recommendations. That's where the work is, and I know that I speak for everybody here that we very much appreciate the dedication of each of our staff members to their job.
Thank you, Mr. Blaine. Any other comments? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposes? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you.
And Mr. Braswell, if I may, I'm happy to speak on the comment regarding the program changes.
Please.
You had mentioned the board members did receive some information regarding some shifting of programs and how we plan to implement the 2 new VPI programs in our division. And those changes were reflective of a great deal of work that we go into to look at the needs of our community overall. So those changes to the various schools are looking out for the needs of our community and seeing where we can best serve students through Head Start and VPI.
Thank you. And I want to just caveat what was said, and I want the public to understand that this is just more than a change of locations. This is a maximizing of our resources, and that is an excellent use of your tax dollars. So I want to thank Head Start. I want to thank you, Mr. Mudd, for thinking outside of the box and best placing our resources in the best location to serve our students. Thank you. Moving on to 8.05, partial replacement of roof at Livingston Elementary. IFB 04052016-1400, Mr. Hockaday and Ms. Findlay.
Good evening, Mr. Braswell, members of the board, Dr. Baker and Dr. Martin. This evening I will be presenting along with John Hockaday, Director of Maintenance. The approved FY16 Maintenance Capital Improvement Plan includes funding for the partial replacement of the roof at Livingston Elementary. The project consists of a partial replacement of the roof with limited building alterations associated with the roof drain and overflow drain scope, including exterior walls and ceilings at selected locations. The project was advertised on EVA, Virginia's statewide e-procurement website, and on the division's purchasing website. Bids were received on April 5th, 2016 as follows. Roof Services Corporation, $340,200. Teamcraft Roofing was $408,580. It is our request that the school board accepts the low bid of $340,200 submitted by Roof Services Corporation to perform the work referenced in the above project. All of the firm's bid documents were submitted in accordance with the instructions to bidders, and their qualifications meet or exceed the requirements set forth for the project. Thank you. Mr. Hockaday and I will be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Finley. Do we have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
And that,
Moved by Dr. Meyer, seconded by Ms. Blaylock. Questions? Any questions? I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Shelley, please.
Partial roof. Why not whole roof?
Yeah, my question.
The section of the roof that's going to be replaced is, will be 26 years old this year. It's actually an addition that was built onto the school, so you have different sections that are at different ages. So this is the section that is up for replacement now.
And then how old is the other section?
There is one section that is now 7 years old, because that has been done previously, and one section that is 5 years old. So this area is the oldest remaining section that is now under warranty.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? That was my question too, so thank you for asking that. We have it, motion by Dr. Meyer, and it was seconded by Ms. Blaylock, properly moved and seconded. Any other observations or questions? I will call for the vote. Oh, Ms. Grant? Oh. Okay, call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposes? Hearing none, motion carries 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
8.06, approval of revised school board meeting calendar. Ms. Gaines.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, school board members, Dr. Baker and Dr. Martin. I am before you this evening to request that you make one modification to your budget calendar based on what we've heard tonight, and that is simply to cancel the meeting, your work session scheduled for tonight, knowing that we should receive additional information tomorrow. With that being the case, we would have one work session. That would be May the 2nd, and we will work until our work is done, and then the school board would adopt the budget on May the 9th with the hope that those numbers would be provided to the county May 10th with the expectation that they would be able to appropriate the budget May 24th, and then HR would release their contracts to employees June the 3rd. So staff is recommending that you make modifications to your calendar as presented this evening.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I would like to make a motion for the meeting calendar revision.
Moved by Ms. Shelley, as second.
I will second.
Second by Mr. Blaine, properly moved in second. Any discussion? Ms. Graham.
On the one that was distributed to us, I already pointed out to Ms. Bowler that there were 2 meetings in the summer that we had voted to start earlier, and the time was changed back to 6:30. So she already made the adjustment, but I just wanted to make sure that you guys remembered that the 2 meetings in the summer were going to start earlier so staff could have a shorter day.
So you're referring to the meeting on July 11th?
I believe it was the second June meeting and the July meeting, and I think it was a 5:30 start instead of a 6:30 start. We voted in January.
For which ones?
The second June and the July meeting.
It was just for the summer.
Just, yeah.
Or summer. Okay, so we have a motion to accept. Do we have any other questions? Sorry, any other questions? We have a motion to accept the calendar as the calendar with corrections that were noted by Ms. Gramp, and the early start times in June and July, and it was properly seconded So if, okay, so, and now I'm tongue twisted. All right, so we have it moved and second, but we have a correction. So we're just accepting the motion as corrected. Is that not correct? Okay, so with that being said, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposes? Hearing none, motion carries 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to informational items, Ms. Flenard, usual and customary. Moving on to 10.01, unfinished business. Any unfinished business? Any unfinished business? Seeing none, moving on to 10.02, new business. Any new business? Dr. Meyer.
One thing, just as so everybody's aware, Mr. Blaine and I are going to the Hot Topics Conference in Charlottesville tomorrow, and information that we glean from that we'll bring back to be able to share with the full board and staff any information we glean from that session. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Meyer. Any other new business? Other new business? Seeing none, hearing none, we will go to 11.01 and 11.02, closed meeting. Let it be resolved that the board conduct a closed meeting for the following purposes: consideration of candidates for employment, assignment, promotion, demotion, and discipline of employees, or resignation of employees who have a contractual commitment to the board as permitted by 2.2-3711A1 of the Code of Virginia. Consideration of student disciplinary appeals as permitted by Section 2.2-3711A2 of the Code of Virginia. We have a motion to enter into closed session. So moved, Mr. Chair. Moved by Dr. Meyer. Do we have a second? Second by Ms. Shelley. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. We're in closed session.
Open session.
I'll second.
Motion by Dr. Meyer to return to open session, seconded by Ms. Blaylock. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 7-0. We are back in open session. Certification of closed meeting. Whereas the Spotsylvania County School Board has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this school board that such a closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Spotsylvania County School Board hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under this chapter, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting. We have a motion to certify.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Dr. Meyer, seconded by Ms. Gramp. Roll call vote, starting with Ms. Shelley.
Shelley, aye.
Meyer, aye.
Blaylock, aye.
Braswell, aye.
Twig eye.
Blaine, aye.
Gramp, aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 7-0. Items from the closed meeting. Dr. Martin.
Mr. Chairman, we have two separate motions. Motion number one is that the school board accepts the recommendation of the superintendent for personnel appointments, assignments, transfers, resignations, and retirements as presented in closed meeting and permitted by Section 2.2-3711A1 of the Code of Virginia.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Dr. Meyer. Second. Second by Mr. Twig. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Any opposes? Motion carries 7-0. Next item, please.
Second motion, that the school board upholds the superintendent's decision and recommendations regarding the student matter, Title IX case number 2016-004, as discussed in closed meeting and permitted by Section 2.2-3711A1 of the Code of Virginia.
Thank
So
you, Doc.
moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Martin. Thank you, Dr. Meyer, for your motion. A second by Mr. Blaine. We'll go by roll call vote on this particular one, starting with Ms. Gramp.
Gramp, aye.
Blaine, aye.
Twig, aye.
Braswell, aye.
Blaylock, aye.
Meyer, aye.
Shelley, aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. We'll move for adjournment. We have a
I
motion.
move to adjourn.
Ms. Gramp moves to adjourn, seconded by Ms. Shelley. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Meeting is adjourned.